Based on King5.com, you can play Ms. Pac Man on Google Maps. There is a reason Google rules when it comes to celebrating April Fool's Day. Case in point, go to Google Maps right now, and you can play a game, or several, of Ms. Pac Man, the classic arcade game, and follow up to the popular Pac Man. At the lower left of Maps, on a browser, next to Earth, you'll see an image of Ms. Pac Man that reads insert coin. It will then evaluate the map and redesign it into a level from the game. If the location currently shown doesn't have enough streets to work, you can choose a random location, or pick a specific city. Google's love of video games goes well beyond April Fool's Day. For example, search "do a barrel roll," and the screen will do a 360-degree turn, in honor of the classic Nintendo series Star Fox. Type in ZERG Russian nod to the Blizzard game StarCraft, and you'll see several lows from the Google logo drop-down and starting eating away at search results. Also, props to Google for choosing the better of the Pac Man games. Seriously, Ms. Pac Man was way better than the original. Based on breaking news, weather, and traffic, you can play Ms. Pac Man on Google Maps for April Fool's Day. It's April Fool's Day, but this is no prank. You can play Ms. Pac Man on Google Maps for a day. Google Maps has had a tradition of prank videos or games. In 2015, the arcade classic Pac Man game was used. This year, when you call up Google Maps on your browser and pick a location, the lower left-hand corner will display an image of Ms. Pac Man and an invitation to insert coin. After clicking the image located next to the Earth image, Google Maps will evaluate your location. If there are not enough streets, Google Maps will redesign it so it resembles the board from the classic arcade game. Arrow keys are used to guide Ms. Pac Man through the maze of streets, which contain those magic pills that allow her to eat those villains. For adults who grew up in the 1980s, this is a nostalgic trip that won't cost money unless you on your phone, since the game will tap into your data reserves for the month. With so many people using smartphones and tablets, Ms. Pac Man will find a new audience. Based on Android headlines, you can play Ms. Pac Man on Google Maps until April 4th. If you open up Google Maps at any point today, you might notice something different, as just ahead of April Fool's Day, Google has injected a dose of Pac Man into Google Maps. To be more accurate, Google has injected a dose of Ms. Pac Man into Maps, allowing the user to play through as much of the classic arcade game as they want. Google has confirmed the in-feature game will be available until April 4th and is accessible via the desktop version of Maps as well as the Android app version. Although, there does seem to be one fundamental difference between the two versions. When accessing Ms. Pac Man through the Android version of Maps, you are redirected to a random part of the world and interact with the game in that location. In contrast, the desktop version of Maps offers some additional ways to interact with the game, including playing Ms. Pac Man in your current location. It is unclear as to why this only seems to be accessible via the desktop version, although that does seem to be the case. It is also worth noting that even on the desktop version, if you live in a less road-condensed area, then the game is unable to be initiated, as Ms. Pac Man requires a number of roads to be able to be played. When played on desktop in these instances, Google will offer you the option of trying a random location, as it does naturally on the Android app version. Of course, this is not the first time that Google has including Pac Man within Maps, as 2 years ago today, and again, just in time for April Fool's Day, Google made the same feature available. Although the difference was that it was the original Pac Man game, and not Ms. Pac Man. As well as also previously offering the ability to play in your current Maps location on an Android device. So if you did play the game 2 years ago, then you might be less inclined to give try one a try this time around. Although, if you didn't last time, then it is certainly worth checking out. It is also worth noting that this is not the only April Fool's related gag from Google this year, as the company also unveiled a new Google Home device today, a Google Home that is designed for your yard. Based on Metro, how you can play Ms. Pac Man on Google Maps. Ms. Pac Man is chomping her way through your town on Google Maps for April Fool's Day. This is no prank, there is now a fun way to kill time when you're lost in the middle of nowhere. The tech giant has recreated the beloved 1981 cult classic on the mobile app for one day only. But instead of the original maze, you'll be running away from the bug-eyed ghosts along Oxford Street, Brighton Pier, or the Highlands, depending where you are. There are two versions any users can play at their current location, where Android users will be taken to a random spot in the world. And it is not exactly a hidden feature. Just open the app and you'll see the little Ms. Pac Man icon on the right. Ms. Pac Man came out 1 year after the original Pac Man debuted in 1980. Both games are virtually the same, except Ms. Pac Man has the trademark pink bow and a different theme tune. But Google didn't stop there. Today it also unveiled its Google Home app for homeowners who want a smart yard. It is the equivalent of Google Home, and tells users the weather, what plants are edible, and reminds humanity that we're all destined to become compost. It is also a joke,